All right guys, we're back at it and we're going to do our first video today. We're going to do preparation 1. So this video will talk about exercises that you could do either in your warm-up at home before a session, or you can even do it in your cool down after a session. And these exercises are not meant to be difficult. They're not meant to be too challenging, pardon me. They're meant to prepare your body for what's coming up next. Now, considering where we are right now in the phase, we're not close to doing anything too fancy, but we still want to prepare our bodies accordingly to the future movements that we're going to do. So what are we looking for? We're going to talk a lot about wrist mobility, because most of our acrobatics are on the ground. We're putting our hands, we're putting a lot of pressure on those wrists. We want to prepare them in a good manner. Same thing with shoulder mobility. So shoulder mobility will stem from thoracic spine. So we'll look at our thoracic spine first, and we'll try to mobilize that area. Then we're going to get some more mobility in the shoulders. We're going to look a little bit at some hips as well for this first preparation stage. So let's start together. I'm going to show you the sequence that you can just simply repeat whenever you want. Now, the first little bit of exercise that we're going to do is we're going to start mobilizing our thoracic spine. So you could take 2 lacrosse balls taped together as such and simply put it behind your back, under your traps, and we're going to go no lower than our rib cage. So we're not intended to go beyond our lumbar. I'm just going to try to place this here, just above my shoulder blades here. I'm going to cross my arms to open up my rib cage, and what I do is I just simply lift my hips up to put more pressure on those balls. And what I'm doing here is I'm just making little motions, little circles if you will, in one direction. Then I go in the other direction, and then I simply scoot myself a little bit further on the next set of vertebra or ribs. And I do the same thing here, circle in one direction, circle the other direction, deep breathing. If I get to an area that's a little bit stiffer, a little bit more sensitive, I can bring my hips down to take a little bit away from that sensitivity, because I want my muscles to relax. So if I stiffen up to protect myself, then I'm not able to relax. So here, I can bring my hips down a little bit more, and more. So I would suggest for all of these exercises about maybe start with 30 seconds all the way up to 2 minutes, going through them back and forth, doing the motions. Next thing I want to mobilize, now that my rib cage is going to be a little bit more free, I'm going to use the same little tool here and place it under my lat, so under my armpit, and I'm going to do essentially the same thing. So I'm going to roll, I'm going to find a spot where it's a little bit more stuck, if you will, if I feel the knots, and just play around in that area here. So I'm going up and down, just like that. Always deep breathing to make sure that I can relax. 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and then I'm going to do the other side. All right, so I'm going to go in a quadruped position here, hands directly under my shoulders, knees under my hips, and I'm going to go into that cat-cow position of yoga. So I'm exhaling out and breathing in. And what I want to do here is I want to continue to mobilize my spine. So I'm targeting again my thoracic spine here, exaggerating the curvature so that I can get more mobility, and this will help open up my shoulders as I'm going to do my acrobatic movements. Now, since I'm already on the ground, this is a perfect time to work the wrists. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to make sure my shoulders are just above my wrists, and I'm going to put pressure on my wrists. So notice I'm making these small circles, one direction, Try not to exaggerate, because what we're doing when we're mobilizing wrists is we're mobilizing soft tissue like ligaments or tendons. And there's not a lot of blood circulation in those things, so if you put too much pressure, if you have that no pain, no gain mentality, it's not gonna work. We're just gonna finish up with an injury. So be kind to yourself. Just a few circles in one direction, then you change the other direction. You can go back and forth. And what I like to do is I like to change my hand position where I was like this, then I bring the fingers towards the knees. I can do back and forth again, and I can continue the circles here. If it's sensitive, then I just don't go as far, because again, they don't behave like muscles. Since we're on the ground already, this is a great place to work a little bit some other yoga movements. So we're going to balance from one position to the next to help mobilize a little bit more those shoulders and that thoracic area that we previously worked on, but we're going to target a little bit more the hips now. So hands on the ground, similar to that quadruped position. Now we're going to stretch our knees here. So we're going to make sure that we're not going to have any bent knees. And from here, we can simply cycle this position here. As you're curving down, make sure to squeeze your glutes. Why? The glutes are going to protect your lumbar. So your lumbar is not going to extend. It's going to be your thoracic. And that's going to be key. So if I let go of my glutes, I can get more range of motion with my lumbar, but that's not the place where we want to get. And from here, we push hard. We try to maintain a nice straight back as best as we can. We'll feel a lot of the stretch in our calves and our hamstrings perhaps. Always breathing, cycling through here. I want to open up my chest and squeeze the glutes. Continuing with the hips, I'm going to lay myself on the ground here, push hard against the ground to activate my lats, and without bending the knee, I'm going to bring my hip or my leg as high as I can, leaving the other one on the ground. So I'm cycling through here, and I'm really pushing hard with my arms. Why? To activate my lats, that will help to activate my core. So if my core is protecting my back, then it's a much safer way to get range of motion of my hips. And one last one to finish up here is a nice straddle position. Legs our knees are extended, and I'm just reaching back here. I can do some motions. What I want to do is I want to tilt my pelvic bone forward, so I don't want to round my back. I want to push my hips back. I want to avoid rounding my back, push the hips back, and try to reach a little bit more. And that's it, guys. So these are some nice little exercises that you could start implementing a little bit in your warm-up, in your activity at the end of the class, or even at home as you're watching TV. Just take it easy. Remember, it's not a no pain, no gain thing. So the goal here is not to push yourself to the maximum. It's soft tissue that you're dealing with. So take it easy on yourself. And slowly, as long as you're consistent with these types of exercises, you will start to see improvement in your shoulders, your hips, and then it's going to open up a lot for your acrobatics that we're going to touch on in the previous videos. So thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next video.